Good afternoon. This is Channel 1 Lunchtime. I trust you're having a lovely Sunday so far. It is the 22nd day of November 2020. We have so much in store for you this afternoon. Well, my name is Jacky Wambiru and our sign language interpreter is Lensa Odingo. To kick us off this afternoon, we head over to Hill Park Hotel right here in Nairobi, whereby the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers are discussing matters regarding the welfare of clinical officers while battling the COVID-19 pandemic. Our reporter Carol Kamau is on standby. Carol, bring us to speed.
A very good afternoon to you, Jacky. Thank you so much for joining us. We're live from the Hill Park Hotel here in Nairobi, again staying with the welfare of health workers in Kenya amid rising cases of COVID-19 in the country. We'll start off on a very sober note today. Another healthcare worker has died just last night in Kisii County. And at this point, I'll bring in the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers in the country, George Gibore, to just talk to us about that. Today, you've issued a 14-day strike notice. One of the issues that you've raised is the issue of vulnerable healthcare workers who are still working in the country despite, the regulations of WHO on the vulnerable members of society. Let's just start from there, Gibore, and thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, thank you very much, Carol, for having me. And I want to say, raise this issue, as you have said. Of course, we regret that we have lost one of us again today from Kisii Level 5. And the attributing factor that we have seen is an age issue. And we have been raising this issue all through. It should be remembered that on Sunday we were here, and we still insisted that the government need to consider to exempt these people who are vulnerable, the aged, those who are 50 and 55 above of age and above, those who are pregnant, those who have pre-existing condition, and also with other diseases must be exempted from the active duty. This will avoid actually unnecessary death that we are seeing. We have actually gone through to look at all those who have succumbed. Now we have lost this. This is the 7th one that we have lost due to this COVID. And we are saying that we will have avoided this because if the government heeded to our call to exempt this vulnerable group, because a majority of them are among the vulnerable group, they wouldn't have lost them. Then I need to say that today we were here to issue a strict notice after 7 days where we were here and a call on the government to implement on a number of issues. So our irreducible minimum which we are asking the government is to ensure that they consider relieving or rather exempting those vulnerable groups from active duty. 2, they must be able to provide a comprehensive medical cover for the healthcare workers that can be able to cater even for the COVID-19 bills. The other issue is that we are asking the government to ensure that they are considering the clinical officer who are not getting any risk allowance to be given the risk allowance, and those who are getting the major 3,000 should be able to be harmonized to 20,000 at least. And similarly, we have said that we need PPEs, adequate PPEs to be provided to all health centers and health facilities so that we can be able to protect ourselves and protect Kenyans. Because what we realize is that once we have been exposed, it is easy to expose the people around you, your family, including the patient. So we have found that we do not have enough. Yesterday we had our ADC, and the ADC gave us a damning report where that they are struggling to get the PPEs, including just a surgical mask, which is now available to 99% of our facility. Very few isolation centers have N95, and the majority of them have surgical masks where they are used to use for actually 24 hours instead of 3 to 5 hours. So we have said if this is not provided, we will go on strike after 14 days. And that is the strike will begin on the 7th next month, and that's to mean if things are not done. But we remain available for the government to ensure that we resolve these issues. Those among other issues including payment of the UHC staff, that have gone for 6 months now without pay. We are calling them to pay, including Vihiga, which have not paid healthcare workers for over 13 months, and we do not know what is the reason. We are calling on them to ensure that they are doing that. Carol.
Judge Gibora, thank you so much for that. We certainly will be having this conversation even further at 9 o'clock, just to talk about the issues that healthcare workers continue to face, and generally the issues that then Kenyans continue to face with your issues not being addressed. Asante sana Gibora for that.
Okay, thank you very much, Carol. I need to urge Kenyans to continue taking these issues seriously, wash their hands, and ensure that they are having social distance, and ensure that all the time they have the mask once they are in any public gathering. Thank you very much,
Thank you ever so much for your time.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. So that's George Gibore speaking on behalf of clinical officers in the country. A 14-day strike notice has been issued unless the government meets their irreducible minimums. And you did hear him state what those are. We shall be escalating this conversation even further at 9 o'clock. So be sure to join us for that. Back to you, Wambiru, for now.
Well, that was our reporter Karu Kamau coming live from the Health Park Hotel, whereby the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers have issued a 14-day strike notice, as well urging the government to ensure that health workers have access to PPEs. We shall be having that discussion later on in our subsequent bulletins. Now, in a separate matter, police have arrested 44 school-going children aged between 14 years and 17 years and seized various brands of alcohol and bang in a house at Nairobi's Mountain View estate. The children, 26 boys and 18 girls, are said to be in primary school. The police have also arrested a 41-year-old woman believed to be the host of the said party.
Detectives from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations say preliminary investigations revealed the children were from Nairobi, Kiambu and Machakos counties. Police are probing into how the children sneaked out of their homes and traveled that far without raising suspicion from their parents. Their host, Millicent Kithenji, aged 41, was also picked up for questioning by detectives based in Dagoretti. The DCI has once again urged parents to take in interest in their children's activities at home and on social media, a day after 6 teenagers were rescued from a notorious gang said to be preying on young girls. For Channel 1 News, I'm Serafina Robi.
And a section of Kisii County residents are calling on the Ministry of Health to consider conducting targeted COVID-19 mass testing in the region to enable residents know their status and take the necessary action. They say many people could be ailing from the deadly disease without knowing, hence spreading the virus further. This even as the area residents we're being urged to keep adhering to the COVID-19 containment measures being put in place to contain the novel coronavirus, with traders discouraged from engaging with clients without face masks.
Despite the COVID-19 pandemic hitting hard across the country, a number of Kenyans are still doubtful of its existence. It is for this reason that some residents in Kisii County have taken it upon themselves to conduct sensitization campaigns. Jen Matiabe, a second-hand clothes dealer who claims to have recovered from COVID-19, says people should not be afraid to seek medical attention if they experience symptoms.
Mimi ilinishika nikiwa hapa kwa soko na sikujua nilishika na wapi, na tulikuwa na matanga nyumbani, wengine wameshika, wengine mmoja amekufa, bado ako mochari, bibi yake bado ni mgonjwa. So what I can tell you, corona, it's really and it's killing. Inaua, corona iko. Wala ambao mlikuwa mnasema mnataka kuona mtu ambaye amegonjeka, mimi niliugua na Mungu amenisaidia na nimepona.
Matiabe calling on authorities to conduct a targeted testing exercise for residents.
Wacha watu wapimwe, wajue status zao. Juu mtu anagonjeka anafikiria tu maybe ako na pneumonia, whereby akifika kwa nyumba anakufa without knowing. Mtu anaenda tu bila kujua.
Edna Kangwana, CEC in charge of administration in Kisii County, urged traders to embrace the no mask, no service mantra.
We felt that it's okay when they are doing business, they continue emphasizing on the need to hold on to the MOH guidelines, that is washing your hands, with soap every time, sanitizing every time, wearing a mask the way I'm wearing and wearing it the right way.
County Director of Public Health Dr. Richard Onkware cautioning that COVID-19 is likely to prevail for a long time, hence the importance of consuming a balanced diet to boost immunity.
Right now, it is not about the government. It is about you. How do you protect yourself? COVID is not going anywhere. We need to learn to live with it.
Meanwhile, a section of Baringo leaders are calling on the government to reconsider full reopening of schools in January next year, owing to increased infections among learners and teachers already in school.
Afadhali watu wawe salama mpaka hii ugonjwa iishe ndio watu warejee shule. After all, wanachalanga mimi focus. After all, watu wanasoma mpaka hata mwaka 70 watu wanasoma.
At the same time, Kenya Union of Post-Primary School Teachers National Secretary Sami Chelanga urged the national government to provide face masks to learners from underprivileged backgrounds.
Tungependa kuona kwamba hao watoto wanapewa barakoa kwa sababu kuna wazazi ambao hawezi kununua barakoa. Unaweza fikiria ni shilingi 50 ni kidogo, kila mtu sio wazazi wote wanapata hiyo barakoa.
Nancy Okwari, Channel 1 News.
Well, that report by Nancy Okware brings us to a commercial break. Don't go too far. We'll be right back.
When the schools shut, the textile sector came to a halt. We have a workforce of over 300 people that we need to support, and the orders were just cancelled overnight. If we had not gone into PPEs right now, we wouldn't be having this opportunity to tell the story of how Equity helped the local sector by procuring locally. Basically, 100% of PPEs were being imported. I don't think a single local textile industry had thought of manufacturing PPEs. So with Equity coming in, we were able to retrain and repurpose a lot of our labor force. And on top of that, we hired an extra 50 to 100 people when the orders got a bit higher. What the local manufacturers achieved, it shows the Kenyan spirit. We were there to protect our front line, which was helping fight this pandemic. And not only did we fight, we made it a product that meets international levels. There's a lot more that we can do locally. Let's explore and let's see what we can do.
Ni mimi. Ulitoa pikipiki? Mlitani sitaomoka. Ni yako. Hii nduti ni yangu. Niliwahi pale Quickbit. Quickbit? Quickbit imekuja kusaidia wananchi kama sisi. Nilinunua 399 shillings. Juu nilikuwa the lowest unique bidder. 399 shillings. Quickbit shilingi moja unaweza nunua free. Shilingi 2 unaweza nunua micro. Shilingi 5 unaweza nunua hata gari. So tupeleke huko hata mtu aende huko.
Jiunga na Quickbit ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bidi yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bidi yako pia kwenye www.quickbit.co.ke. Kumbuka, bidi ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio hununua. Quickbit, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
Welcome back. Now in the political arena, Bungoma Senator Moses Wetangula has called for national dialogue over the Building Bridges Initiative Task Force report. Wetangula says that divergent views ought to be considered in a bid to come up with a document that will foster meaningful unity in the country.
Calls for consensus building over contentious issues contained in the BBI report continue to reverberate.
Kufanya declarations
Bungoma Senator Moses Wetangula says the postponement of a signature collection drive provides a good opportunity for a public discourse over the report.
If the postponement of that event was to continue seeking and generating greater consensus, it's a good thing, because we have just said here that there is no view of any Kenyan that is not useful. There's no view of any Kenyan that we can just sweep under the carpet.
The Bungoma lawmaker calling for an end to the destructive cycle of divisive elections in the country.
This country has had a deficit of unity for far too long. We've killed each other and destroyed property because of elections. I want to go to an election where the winner doesn't take it all and the loser doesn't walk away hungry. We want an election where when we finish, everybody says it was a good fight, I'll live to fight again, so that we can pull our country together.
Wetangula's sentiments were echoed by a section of leaders from Baringo County.
Nataka nishukuru rais, alitiketi chini, moto, tension ambayo ilikuwa Kenya ikaenda chini. Kweli uongo? Yes. Tension ilienda chini wakati rais aliposimama na kuongea na deputy wake, inji ikakaa na amani. Hiyo ndio mahala ambapo tunaelekea.
Mimi nahitaji BBI au mabadilisho ya katiba ambayo ni mzuri kwa Mkalenjin wakati yako ndani na wakati yako nje. Tunahitaji katiba ambayo tukiwa ndani ni sweet, tukiwa nje ni.
The leaders lauding the postponement of the BBI signature collection drive, saying the focus should now shift fully to the war on COVID-19.
Ningependa kufurahia kwamba hiyo rege ambayo imekuwa ikisemwa na mtu fulani, Mungu ameisimamisha. So tungependa kumwambia Uhuru Kenyatta na viongozi wa kitaifa kule juu kwamba muweke maisha ya wananchi kibao mbele.
Despite the insistence by the proponents of the BBI that the window has been shut for further amendments, some say the report has numerous gaps which must be bridged before implementation.
For independent institutions, for other arms of government, like judiciary, for them to function and deliver their mandate expeditiously, that they should have a specific percentage, and we're proposing 2 to 3% from the national government as their allocation, if they have to deliver their mandate effectively.
Kama kanisa tumesema kwamba kanisa hatuwezi kuunga mkono BBI ambayo italeta mgawanyiko katika nchi. Sisi tunataka tuwe na amani na tunataka tuhimize kwamba rais wa Kenya tunamshukuru kwa kuweza kusitisha mambo ya kupata sahihi ili tuweze kusemesana.
For Channel 1 News, I'm Safin Acheng Oma.
In other news, the National Assembly Committee on Regional Integration is recommending a raft of measures to improve cross-border trade between Kenya and Tanzania. The committee's vice chairperson, Ruwaida Mohammed, says their proposals, if implemented, will facilitate transformational change to promote inclusive economic growth between the two countries. In efforts to improve cross-border trade along the Kenya-Tanzania border, the National Assembly Committee on Regional Integration has drafted proposals which, if implemented, will improve cross-border trade between Kenya and Tanzania.
Tulete uwiano baina sisi na Watanzania kwa sababu sisi ni Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki.
The State Department of East African Community Principal Secretary Kevin Desai says the recommendations support the government's intention to cushion traders from oppressive trade tariffs. Desai adding that there is need for proper safety, security regulations and sensitization of locals to boost cross-border trade.
COVID-19 times that we look into these safe trade markets with a view of ensuring that they meet healthcare regulations, safety regulations, security regulations, and that they are aggregators by way of ensuring that they're able to create information and awareness and greater sensitization on how to trade across borders.
At the same time, the committee noted challenges of cross-border trade which, if left unresolved, could threaten peaceful coexistence between two countries.
Ya challenges ni kwamba ile coordination ya national government na county government tahakikisha tufatilizie, kuwe na coordination, kwa sababu janga hili lazima watu washirikiane. Wanahitaji security road, maji, kuna pia ile sample wakichukua inachelewa kurudi, so kuna mambo mengi ambayo pia yanawatatiza. Lakini
now, a section of residents in Mavoko, Machakos County, has accused the National Environmental Management Authority of failing to control industrial waste disposal in the area. The locals allege that their attempts to have NEMA address the matter has fallen on deaf ears, a situation they say has left them exposed to diseases.
The residents of Mavoko held demos demanding an immediate action on wanton pollution in the area. The locals alleged that the National Environment Management Authority has been slow in ensuring that industries operating in the area practice safe waste disposal.
Na zinakaa hapa, hakuna mtu wa kushughulikia, hatuoni yoyote. Kanzu akiambiwa hakuna, tunaambiwa wale wanashughulika hawaonekani.
The residents called on relevant authorities to move with speed and address their plight.
Kwamba ukitoka Nairobi, ukiwa kwa matatu, ukiwa umelala, ukitaka kujua umefika the river, harufu.
Tutaweka sheria ya corona, tutaweka sheria ile nafaa ya corona, lakini hatutaishi kwa hii uchafu tena, tumechoka.
The locals alleged that the uncontrolled disposal of effluent has led to an increase in hospitalization of children in the area. Yusuf Farah, Channel 1 News.
Moving on, members of the troubled Ekeza Sacco have started receiving refunds of their investment. Newly appointed Chief Executive Officer Jimmy Kagoni confirmed 100 million shillings has been paid out to members, and those yet to be refunded will get the money back soon. Kagoni also said he has forwarded the names of 18 fraud suspects to the Directorate of Criminal Investigations for action. At the same time, the SACCO is giving members the option of acquiring parcels of land equal to the money owed in case they do not want to be compensated in cash.
We had saved less than 20,000 or depositors of less than 20,000. If you know that you had forwarded the wrong papers, kindly, way before we start doing this, I want to request you that you come and withdraw your papers. Because if we identify, in course of our investigation, if we identify that you are fraudulent, be sure that you are going to face the full force of law.
The political class is being challenged to redirect resources set aside to popularize the Building Bridges Initiative report to improving health services to effectively fight the COVID-19 pandemic. In his homily to celebrate a feast of Christ the King, Father at the Holy Family Basilica, Father Simon Peter Kamomoe called out leaders for putting efforts of reviving the economy and fighting the pandemic on the back burner at the expense of the health of the citizens.
Kwa hivyo ni wakati wa kuangamiza, kurekebisha pia tabia zetu. Kurekebisha tabia zetu. Kwa sababu tabia zingine si hazilingani, haziambatani watu wa ufalme wa mbinguni. Mtu ambaye hana huruma, huyo sio mtu wa ufalme wa Mungu. Kanisa limeongea, maaskofu wameongea, wakasema ya kwamba hii ripoti ya BBI, ripoti ya BBI haifai vile ilivyo wakati huu. Lazima irekebishwe. Sura zingine ni lazima zirekebishwe kabla ya kuiletea watu wa Mungu. Kama huu wakati watu ni wagonjwa, wakati wa kuongea mambo kama ya BBI, huu ni wakati wa kusahau kila kitu na kuanza kushughulikia watu ambao ni wagonjwa, na wengine wanatabu, wengine ni wanajaa, wengine wanakufa. Hata pesa ambazo zinatumika wakati huu kwa mambo hayo ya shughuli ya BBI yanatakiwa kutumika sasa kushughulikia watu ambao ni wagonjwa.
And now across borders, a judge in Pennsylvania has dismissed a lawsuit from the Trump campaign that had sought to invalidate millions of mail-in votes in the battleground state. Judge Matthew Brown said the suit, which rested on allegations of irregularities, was without merit. The move, which now dents Trump's attempts to overturn his defeat, paves the way for Pennsylvania to next week certify Joe Biden's win in the state. In the latest blow to Donald Trump, who is trying to overturn his loss in November 3rd presidential election, Trump has refused to concede and made allegations of widespread electoral fraud without providing any evidence.
I won, by the way, but, we'll find that out.
Biden is projected to defeat President Trump 306 to 232 in the U.S. electoral system, which determines who becomes president, far above the 270 he needs to win. The Trump campaign has lost a slew of lawsuits contesting results from the election, and their latest efforts focus on stopping the swing states that handed Biden his win. In the ruling, Judge Brown said that the Trump campaign had tried to disenfranchise almost 7 million voters. He said his court had been presented with strained legal arguments without merit and speculative accusations. Few Republicans have called on the president to concede, but he is yet to accept the results. Saturday, the Trump campaign called for another recount in Georgia, a day after a by-hand recount confirmed Biden's win in the state. Kennedy Uching and Stephanie Fernandez produced great feats of endurance to win the men and women elite race, respectively, as the Nations Duathlon Championships culminated at Mamangena Waterfront in Mombasa.
The duo braved morning drizzles to prove their athletic prowess after seeing off their tough opponents of the event, used by the Kenya Triathlon Federation to select athletes for the African Duathlon Championships, scheduled for Rwanda from December 8 to 14. The participants were drawn from Kwale, Kilifi, Mombasa, Machakos, Narok, Nairobi, Nandi, Kisumu, Eldoret, Kiambu and Murang'a counties, where strict COVID-19 guidelines were observed. The athletes covered 5-kilometer run, 20-kilometer cycling and 2.5 kilometers run. Ochieng, who won last year's under 24 years duathlon in Spain, clocked 58 minutes, 55.33 seconds to qualify for the Africa Duathlon Championships. David Ndadha and James Moura completed the podium dash. Last year's men runners-up, Gideon Ruto, was beaten to the 4th position.
Hata sikujua naweza perform hivi. Nilikuwa najua nitalemewa. So nilijaribu tu kwa uwezo wangu, kwa kadri ya uwezo wangu naweza nilibidi nijaribu tu, lakini weather ilikuwa joto sana, sikujua naweza toboa.
In the women's elite category, Stephanie Fernandez emerged victorious ahead of Mercy Fuande and Josetta Njeri, who came in 2nd and 3rd respectively. National Duathlon elite women champion Catherine Kariuki finished 5th.
It's very nice to have some race in Kenya and in East Africa. This event is very important to promote this sport in Africa and in East Africa. I'm French. I compete in France in first division.
We are selecting duathletes who represent Kenya in a CSR event in Rwanda. We are choosing we are choosing almost 30 athletes who will be representing our country in Rwanda Zone 5.
Karanja David for Channel 1 Sport.
And it was a family affair after 16-year-old Brandon Oyaro and his mother Trofena Oyaro were declared winners at the annual Kenya Ports Authority Golf Tournament at Nyali Golf and Country Club.
16-year-old Brandon Oyaro overcame a strong field, including experienced players, to emerge as the overall winner with a good score of 41 points. As Oyaro drove his shots perfectly, his mother Trofena Oyaro was happy to be declared the lady winner after posting 38 points.
First night, I asked him, what happened? He told me like this, he did like this, he didn't do like this, he did like this. And then I said, no, this guy must have done something. Anyway, after the game is when I realized Brandon played very well.
As we heard from my parents, I had a goal in golf which I achieved it. And I want to continue playing golf because I have my friends who are in South Africa, which I want to join them so I can continue playing golf with them.
Oyaro's father, Yobesh Oyaro, did not let down the family after he posted 30 points on a countback for the third staff position. The men winner was Peter Kimanga with 39 points, while Oshwin Kana was the men runners-up with a point adrift. Mary Mariga posted 37 points to settle for the ladies' first runners-up position.
Well, that brings us to the end of our bulletin this afternoon. For more news, check out our website at kbc.co.ke. My name is Jacky Wambiru. Our sign language interpreter has been Lensa Odingo. Enjoy the rest of the day.